You saw the thumbnail, you know what this is. Let's not play around. I loathe the GoPro 6. I've lost things that I've shot using a GoPro 6, and I was not too happy with it almost ever. I've relegated it to being a time lapse because you really can't screw up a time lapse too bad. I have had that happen with that camera. The GoPro 6 is not worth my time. It serves its purpose in a very small role. The 5 is not that great. The 4 seems to be the shining light, but the 4 doesn't do everything that I want it to do. Allegedly, the 7 is supposed to be the thing that's great. So this is a 7. Been thinking about pulling the trigger on it and decided to. This is will be the main GoPro camera, maybe. Hopefully, if it doesn't fail. Oh, they have very easy packaging for it. That's nice. So there's nothing crazy about this. This is the GoPro Hero 7 Black. This is the top tier one. I plan on using it to shoot 4K. I plan on shooting 4K 60. 4K 60 on the GoPro 6 was mediocre at times, at best sometimes. So having this thing shoot 4K, what I want to do is get this thing out of a box, take a quick look at it, make sure everything looks okay and it works. Make sure it works okay, make sure it looks okay. Everything is almost the same as the 5 and the 6. The housing is the same. You know, I bought a third-party case for this, and it has a bigger lip that's easier to pull open. People that shoot YouTube videos, I guess, for the most part, are usually around this tall, and they don't have human-sized hands. So everything seems a lot larger. Oh, it's very small or whatever, and then I get it and it's smaller. This would be nicer if it had a little bit bigger of a lip. I'm walking in with an attitude because the 6 costs more than this and gave me trouble almost every other time I used it. So to have this work at all will be not necessarily redemption, but it will keep me from bad-mouthing GoPros constantly. I use GoPros 2-3 times a week because I make videos every day. So if I can get this to work consistently, and as good as I've seen it with other people, other YouTubers that have used them, and so far they haven't had almost any issues that at least they've reported. I'm not getting paid. I paid for this right out of my pocket. I don't get paid to do any of this stuff. It costs me money to do this stuff, right? So I'm not going to, like I'm saying, the 6 sucks. The CEO of GoPro was talking how great it was and how the 6 is good and this is a step up, and it's like, you're not taking a step up, dude. You're underground from the 6 trying to get back up to the level, and maybe this will do it. I'm not going to hold my breath. I am going to use it, and don't worry, if something goes wrong, you will hear from me. I'm not going to allow my time and especially my money to be wasted on something like this anymore. The DJI has a new offering as of right now that should be coming out soon that has most of these specs and built-in better mechanical stabilization, allegedly. So this has stabilization. This has hyper zoom, hyper smooth, gimbal like hyper smooth zoom. What is a hyperlapse? Sorry, hyperlapse is supposed to be like really great on this. I do want to try out hyperlapse with this. I'm going to try out as many different things as I can with it, basically. Whether or not it'll hold up to any of my tests, we'll find out. I want to let me go ahead and plug in a battery. when I saw the CEO talking about how great the 6 was and everything, and how that, I really would have just punched him in the face. And because I lost footage of me catching a fish at one point too, which is just like, ugh, that, ooh, just thinking about that really makes me mad. But I've lost footage with it. I've had major issues. So I went through the setup. Setup is pretty straightforward. Go watch somebody else's video that does really good videos. This is the 7, GoPro Hero 7 Black. I don't see, there's nothing fancy in this. I didn't get anything crazy with it. I think for the most part, it should work. What I'm gonna do is, starting tomorrow, I'm gonna just make a vlog with it and just work it through its paces and try to beat it up and find out where the weaknesses are. The audio is the big issue. Supposedly the audio is a lot better. I've seen other people's videos. It sound good. I'm going to find out for myself. The stabilization is supposed to be stellar, because it takes, what I'm guessing, I don't know. I'm just purely speculating. It takes like a 6K and then crops it down to 4K. So that way that you get instead of having all this movement, you just crop down the little piece so it doesn't really move as much. That's what's supposed to happen. Whether or not that is, we'll find out. GoPro, don't fail me. I really don't have the patience for GoPro right now. Quick thing about this, the interface is a lot faster. I'll give it that. The options are a bit deeper. I have not had any issue with it coming on really quickly like this. Like I said, the big test is going to be whether or not I can do it with wet hands, which allegedly it should be okay. I have the 4K 60 frames a second. I'm going to do time lapses with it. Usually I do like 5 seconds between for time lapse video. Time lapse video seems to be the place where this shines, and plus I don't want to take a bunch of pictures and have to string them together. I do that for the night lapse, but just for regular time lapses, it's not the case. The size and weight are pretty good. This has the option to do vertical for like Instagram video and vertical video, which obviously I'm not doing, but it has that option, which I'll probably never use. I put a 256 gig card in here because I had a Black Friday sale. Got it for like 40 bucks. So with that, I don't know if you can see this, 8 hours and 25 minutes of recording time. This is perfect because this is going to be my main fishing camera too. I like to put it in the back and just have it running, and if I don't have another camera running when I catch a fish, hopefully I can catch a fish, you never know, this will capture that. And I've had luck with my 5 doing that, putting it in the back and just leaving it on, and then if I don't have another camera running, I remember, oh, I have that footage, and it works great. I did that with a 6 a few times and I got screwed. So that's why I'm really skeptical. I'm incredibly skeptical about this 7. I want it to work. I want it to be okay. I don't want to have to wasted that money to not have something that's great. I'm not going to say it's great, but I am going to say it's going to be useful. Quick thoughts on using it for a day. It powers up a lot better, meaning that I don't have to guess, did I hit the button right? Because the other ones, the 5 and the 6 do, sometimes they don't start right. Maybe it's mine. I doubt it. This turns off and on really easily. The interface on the back, the interface seems a lot more responsive. It works a lot quicker, or at least it seems that way. I use time lapse all the time. I don't like how the time lapse is set up to do times, if that makes any sense. The way the time lapse is set up, I think I figured out how I want it to look, but I like having time intervals. That's just me, I guess. But the audio on this, I haven't tried it in a case. I was just doing it handheld. Just looking at handheld stuff, the audio on this is almost comparable to my iPhone. That's what I'm shooting this on. And That's about as good as you can get for a GoPro like this. I'm curious to see if I put it in water and do. I'm not going to do any of that stuff, at least not right now. Probably in a couple of months when I start fishing in water that I can do that with. But it seems okay. It seems like they took notes of people, everybody who complained. The big complaint was the audio. I think that's as good as it can get with what this does. And I think as far as just usability goes, they just made it faster, which is always better. I can get up and running on a shot, what, about 5 seconds, which is, I mean, instantaneous would be perfect, but 5 seconds is pretty good.